Welcome back to ShopDog-Garage. I'm obviously still a little stuffy in the head. I hung this off camera because I was sick and I didn't record anything. So we've got our new master. I've got all this kind of mocked up, and I needed a pair of hands to make sure just how much room we have. This shouldn't be a big problem at all. And then as long as I bring the rear back and then down and out, I think that'll work out pretty slick. So you can see that's where the wheel well sits. Okay, so to remind myself, I've got to make a hook here, come down around along the frame, back up through this clamp probably to this port here, and then this port will come down through the clamp and then down around and into that, and then of course the rear, which I'm probably going to take over the subframe. So, and of course I've also got to make these two, you know, feed here, and you can usually tell pretty easily when you look inside the I'm not going to get that off of there, that is really on there, but you can see large reservoir here, that'll be for a disc, small reservoir will be for a drum. So we will take the drum to the back, which goes to this residual valve. This will go here, and that splits off to these guys. So that's how that works. Okay, we had that existing line that we made last time that was a little short, and it looks like I'm probably going to be able to make that work. I want to sit that fender up in a little while just to make sure. Notice I threw some arc in there to help with that, so we'll take a look. Okay, to go to these shorter bolts, I had to pull all of this back off, which wasn't ideal, but we're getting it all back on. But this way, see, it'll sit nice and flush. Why take up any extra space? I know we've shown this tool before, but this is the inline tube flare tool that can go right on your vise. So just use the flat one to square it up. We've got it all pinched. You do operation 1. And then you look, because we got 3/16, so that was operation 1. And then we're just going to turn it to operation 2 on 3/16, which is right here. And we're turning the vise. You can see in there, we've got a flare. And as we all recall, this one is the one you use on the car. So I just did the first go, and then I'll change to the cone and do that. I hope I didn't screw up my length. He's looking for some different brackets for here, so I'll work with that in a minute. Just starting to see the nice same little swoops we did on the Pontiac. This one, I was going to make it more angular, but then I'd have to remake it. Remember, this was that line last week that was a little short. So now I think I'm going to pull some quarter out and work on these guys here. Now this moves a little, so I do want to leave a little bit of flex. Okay, so just bent this one up and getting ready to do this one here. The way I tend to do these when they're short, you get one, you get the first bend in fact, I'll probably start up here because then I'll have a longer piece for the flare. You kind of get it, figure out where it needs to end up, and you can see here, that's where I needed to be straight, and then cut to length. Okay, so I've got my 45, so what we'll do is we'll line it up with the bottom of that hole right there, and that's where I'll be straight, and then I'll be able to figure out my length. Remember that some material gets used to make the flare. I'm going from here, see it down where it's touching, up to here. That's too much material for the flare, so I am going to cut that much off. Some practice and experience will tell you about how much you're talking. Okay, so the next line will be the 1/4 inch line to the back. Those long ones are never fun, so I want to kind of map that out and decide which end I want to terminate first. It's probably this end, but I want to verify that, because then I can kind of dangle and work it all back and clip and bend and clip and bend. And it's probably going to be the easiest to make the piece down there. But I'm not sure yet, you know, because no matter what, that's got to fit where I got to work at the very end. So we'll keep working. And then, yeah, I haven't tightened those yet, but let this move to where it naturally wants to be. For anyone who forgot about it, we just installed the bracket. He put a nice rubber liner in there. So, but this is that point I've got to get. Got to swoop over that and then figure out where it was. It was probably here and here and here. In fact, I'm going to say it had to have been, which means that line came forward here, came up, around, and in. Okay, that's what we're going to do. All right, so this is going to, and we're going to start up front. It's going to run here, up over this, which remember I've still got to hog that out yet. And then it comes out around, and there's a clip point here. So see, we've got to come out and around and come here, be held. Bend around, clip point, clip point, clip point up here over the arm. And then the factory actually routed it up behind here. I'm going to bring it from this point up through here, right there. So that's how we're going to do it, because we do not have our proportioning valve in anywhere close to the same location they did. Sorry we didn't film this. It was a little tight and hard to do, but we now have our T-block all mounted up, nice and rigid. Got our nice little hose, a 1/4-inch tube coming around, not hitting nothing. Even using factory mount locations, not factory clamps obviously, but mount locations. Coming around, coming up, and then bam. I do want to find one more clamp location here if I can, just because I don't want the noise that could make. But overall, I'm pretty happy with that. All right, coming around here, you'll note we got shocks in now. And he did finally get those welded in there. Like I said, maybe we didn't need them, but GM spent money putting them in there. So we figured we might as well put them back in there too. Okay, and while he welded those brackets, he also did that for us, because if you recall, we wanted this to be able to go in here. So that looks pretty slick. And with that, we're going to pass it over to ShopRex, call it a night. I'm getting tired. We were in kind of looking at the rocket ship, looking at some headlight switches on this plow truck that doesn't seem to be working anymore. So always a million things to do. We're pretty happy with the brake system though. That's coming along. So I think next time we will spend a little bit of time working on e-brake stuff again. You got that washer welded in there. And yeah, I think this is going to work out pretty slick. So anyway, thanks for watching. ShopRex has to remember, safety first.